Yo, what's going on, YouTube? Welcome back to another Minnesota Twins game review. This is game 2 of the doubleheader today. The Twins ended up splitting. The first game they lost 3-2. The second game, which we'll be covering more of, they won 6-0. So a very good game for the Twins. Byron homered, Polanco homered after coming off the IL. You have Arise with a triple, Miranda homered. I mean, this is all good stuff. We're going to talk about it. What I will not be doing is talking about the first game very much. The only thing I will really say about that game is, man, Emilio Pagan is either really, really good or he's really, really bad, and he has been a lot more bad than he has been good. And even in the games where he's been good, it doesn't seem like he's that good. He's got like a 7+ ERA in the last 39 appearances. I think he's on his last legs. I don't know. I think you could get some trade value for him if you throw in another piece, but I don't know who the Twins would want to trade. Maybe we can talk about that in the comments. But really, like, the Twins were definitely winning in that first game with Correa's homer. And yeah, then Emilio Pagan blows it. But here's the thing. The Twins only scored 2 runs in that first game. Yesterday when I was talking to you, they had 11 runs. They scored 11 runs. Their pitching was decent in all 3 games. I mean, first of all, yesterday, who was it? Sonny Gray only gave up 1 run, or he didn't give up the run. The Twins gave up the run. The Cotton gave up the run, but the team only gave 1 run. He pitched really good. Smeltzer today in the first game only gave up 1 run, I believe, and in this game they shut him out. So, like, the pitching has been great. The hitting is so inconsistent, and it makes me so upset as a Twins fan. Like, looking back at, like, 2019, the Twins were on all cylinders, but the biggest problem in 2019 was they only hit solo home runs, right? And that is great. You're hitting a lot of home runs. They hit the record for home runs in a season, but they hit single home runs, and that's why they still lost 60-some games, and I'm not saying they would have been as good as the Yankees this year, but they definitely, were not as a completed hitting team. Whereas this year, it's the exact same thing. The Twins are winning a lot of games, but they're also losing because they're so inconsistent day in and day out. It's not quite the same thing, but you can see the comparison, right? Like, yesterday's game, it was 11-0 until the last batter. Today, 6-0. They get the shutout. Earlier today, in game 1, they only put up 2 runs. The announcers were saying the Twins are 32-6 when they score 4 runs. 4 runs is not a lot. Like, I think somewhere it's like if you score 5 runs, you win like 65% of your games or something like that. So 4 runs is pretty close to that. And they scored 11 and they scored 6, but then they scored 2. Why are they so inconsistent? That's the biggest problem. You get 14 hits in yesterday's game, 13 hits in this game. You get, 4 hits earlier today? It's so inconsistent, and it bothers me. Like, that's why the Twins will not win the World Series this year, is because they will go into the first round of the playoffs, probably play the Yankees, and I'll say they win a game this year. I'll go that far. And they'll score 15 runs in that game or whatever, but they are so inconsistent, and the next 3 games, they're going to get 3 hits. It's kind of the same thing that happened against the Astros last year. They were such a hot team going into the playoffs, I believe, and then they put up 3. It was honestly like 3 hits in one game and like 2 hits in another game. And they scored 1 run. So, or 2 runs, whatever it was. Like, it's just like, this is mind-boggling similar to the Twins teams that have been playing in the past, just with different problems this year. It's not the home runs that are necessarily a problem. Home runs are, somewhat down across the entire league this year. Obviously starting to go back up with the summer months, but nobody's going to hit 300 home runs this year. This is the same problem, is like, the team is good, but it's not great because it has that flaw, right? It has that flaw, and that's just the inconsistency with hitting. So it is what it is. Let's talk about the game. I already talked about a couple of guys hitting some home runs. Polanco was on the injured list. He hit his 8th home run tonight. Miranda hit his 5th, and Buxton hit his 20th. I don't know how many other guys have hit over 20. I think it's like 3 or 4. I know it's Judge, but that's still pretty good. Obviously, he's not going to win MVP, striking out 2 to 3 times a game. I'm not upset. His OPS is over 900. He's got 20 home runs on the season, but he's only hitting 236. He's not an MVP candidate, I don't think, this year. Maybe gets a vote or two, but 2 for 5 is a good night. That's a great night. That's what I want to see every night, especially with a home run. But the strikeout numbers are getting way too high, and he's just. I still think there's something wrong. He's not as hot as he was, and I don't think he ever will be. But it's just something just seems a little bit off. Correa went 0 for 2 in this game, but he hit the home run earlier. He walked 3 times. I don't think you can be upset with that. Garlick went 2 for 4. Gordon 1 for 1. Arise, another 2 for 4 night there with an RBI. Had that triple as well and a walk. I mean, that's just fantastic. That's a great night for him. He's batting 344. He's got an OPS, at whatever it is, 866. His OBP is still above 400. You can't complain about that. Polanco coming off the IL, the first time he's ever been in the IL, 2 for 4 with 3 RBIs. Of course, that home run was very helpful in that. Urshela 0 for 5 tonight. Left 7 guys on base. Man, that's a game to forget for sure. But Miranda backing him up 2 for 4 with his home run. Jeffers 2 for 4. And Celestino 0 for 4. He's batting 288, dropping a little bit, but still doing okay. His OPS is only 694, which is probably a little bit less than what you'd expect from a guy hitting almost 300. Really a solid game, though, even though the Twins only went 1 for 9 with runners in scoring position, and they left 9 guys on base. It's really where the pitching shined. They kept Cleveland to 0 for 9 with runners on base. They got to Plinkington, whatever his name is. They got to him early in the first 4 innings. And Josh Winder, who was coming off the IL as well, he was great. 6 innings. Really mixed in his fastball a lot more than what I think most people would have expected. Only threw 81 pitches as well. Probably could have gone out another, inning, maybe even 2. I think he really could have. But obviously coming off the IL, you got to be careful with him. Only gave up 4 hits, 1 strikeout, 1 walk. Lots of pop-ups. That's what you get with the Cleveland team who likes to hit power. Ramirez is a power hitter. Naylor's a power hitter. Gonzalez is turning into a power hitter. Kwan is a good hitter, and you have Reyes, who did not play in this game. He's a power hitter too. So you get a lot of power guys. You get, swing and miss stuff with a good slider and a fastball that will run. So Winder did fantastic. Duffy with a good inning as well. And then Moran, who surprised me tonight, did really, really well. 2 strikeouts in his 2 innings of work. And, of course, the shutout means no runs were scored. Really a good game overall, though. The Twins are now, they were, were they 3 or 4 games up? I think they were 3 games up. Maybe they were 4. I don't know. They lost, so that, obviously cut it. But then they won. So they're right back to where they were, and they cannot. So I think they have 2 games left, Wednesday and Thursday. So they must be 3 up. Now, they cannot lose the AL Central to the Guardians this series. So that is good. The Twins will be in first place when they leave Cleveland, which is great. The Orioles are hot, though, so it'll be a fun series to watch this weekend. And the White Sox continue to lose as well. I mean, honestly, Detroit's probably going to catch the White Sox soon, or Kansas City. This is great news for the Twins. Like I said, even to some comments and a little while ago, the Twins were not supposed to be this good this year. And, this is the second year for a lot of guys. Kirilloff, rookie year for Royce Lewis, who was hurt. But first year for Urshela and Sanchez on the Twins, so they're adjusting. Garlick's the new addition. Celestino's a new addition. Or at least they're coming up and they're actually producing with the Twins. I don't think you would have expected this from any of them. Larnack, and I'm sure I'm missing a couple of guys. Pitching-wise, Duran, who would have thought he would have been this good? There's a lot of guys who are in their first, second, maybe third year with the Twins, and they are really starting to grow and shine. And they were not supposed to be this good. So for them to be in first place, yeah, it's a pretty Spurs division where you got two really bad teams in Kansas City and Detroit. The Guardians are kind of iffy. The White Sox were supposed to be good, but they've dealt with injuries. One team prevails, and it's the Twins. So that's all you can ask for. Another shutout. Like they've had quite a few shutouts this year. It just all needs to come together, and it does, and then it doesn't, and then it does, and then it doesn't, and then one piece is good, and then another piece is not. So we'll see how it goes. But I again don't think the Twins really should have been in this spot. So for them to be in first place, they can't lose first place this series. It's a really good place to be in. So good job for the Twins tonight. Hopefully you guys enjoyed the game. I did. We'll see you tomorrow.